G'day, my name's Costa Zullio and welcome to Emerge. Emerge is a program about some of the up-and-coming young bands happening around Brisbane, and today we're going to focus on Afro Dizzi Act, and to give us a bit of an insight on the band, here's Stu Watters.
How you going? Basically, what a band, you know, these guys have got so many different influences to their music. They're pulling styles from the jazz world, from hip hop to groove. They're really able to merge them well together, and I think that that's testimony to all of the styles of music that they have learnt as they've been growing up, and the fact that they also collaborate really strongly with the community that they're working in. So they're consistently kind of pushing their boundaries. And I think one of the things that is testament to that for them is that they have got such a broad appeal. They play a really diverse range of festivals and touring. You know, the kinds of festivals that they're playing at a Big Day Out, your Livid, your East Coast Blues Festival, Woodford Folk Festival, and playing alongside names like, you know, from Ben Harper to Sly and Robbie to Spearhead, you know, so there's some really great stuff going on there, and they're also a really hard-working touring act as well. You've got to see that they've gone all the way from Cairns to Melbourne, everything in between, and Dubai, India and Nepal, so there's really good stuff going on there, Costa.
The boys have recorded a couple of tracks for us. Let's get into Get the Party Started. That's local outfit Afro Dizzi Act, and the track Let's Get the Party Started. And we have this afternoon with us, we've got Nick, Shannon and Anthony. How you doing, boys?
Good, Costa. How are you?
Not bad. That sounds like a bit of a set opener. Let's get the party started. Am I right? Am I wrong?
You're right.
No, you nailed it.
Where did that one come from?
The Party Started came from the instrumental we wrote in Nepal, and the rap we wrote in Nepal as well on our tour, our last tour there.
So you toured Nepal. There are a lot of bands out there who have done a lot of touring. Not many of them would have toured Nepal. How did that all come about, Nick?
That came about by meeting a young jazz band from Nepal called Cadenza in Townsville, and we sort of hit up a bit of a friendship, did some blowing, did the zoo and did the alley bar with them, and then they pulled together a festival a couple of years later and gave us a call, said would you like to come out for the festival, and we said for sure. And yeah, that's how it started.
And what was it like, Shannon?
Fantastic festival. It was a bit of a surprise. We rocked up. It was not quite sure what to expect. There's a lot of different artists arrived in the same situation. We had artists from Europe and artists from America, and everyone sort of arrived in the same few days and were welcomed into the hotels, and we all know each other really well. And yeah, basically got bussed around the countryside to all these different venues because the festival went for 2 weeks or so. Hit a lot of different locations. So yeah, it was fantastic.
Basically jazz music, mostly, or was it
influence? It was kind of a jazz-influenced festival. It was quite broad, actually, quite a groove festival in a lot of ways. There was no actual jazz scene in Nepal as such, so everyone's really open-minded, and we had a lot of different influences and a lot of opportunity to kind of interact and freestyle jam with a lot of the musicians.
Yeah.
A lot of the concerts were actually not sets of one band, the next band, the band after. They were, I don't know, mixing lineups and things.
That really defines how you guys have actually developed your sound over the kind of time that you've been together. You guys have always always worked with a whole bunch of other musicians. You know, I mean, I've seen all of you in different acts somewhere around the place, and then you kind of come back together and mash it in some ways.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And the way the band started was with sort of free-form improvisation almost. We'd start with a groove and then take it out for about 30 minutes, everyone jamming sort of stuff. So it's always kept that sort of
And so what,
vibe.
for songs, you pick the best bits out of all that?
Basically, yeah. We'd sort of choose the melody out of an old 70s song and do the melody and then sort of play some solos and vibe off each other and sort of make up a lot of it, which is part of what we've kept today as well, 7 years later, is writing more songs now. So there's a whole song there, but with the ability to, if someone wants to do something different, cool, let's catch that and we'll sort of jump on the bus.
Yeah, we're always open on stage to, you know, variations.
So a bit of improvisation goes on stage?
A lot of
Big time, yeah.
It's all that communication. It's like a conversation where sort of some sets we've got to get the first track where we lay down a certain bed and we might take 3 to 5, 6, 7, 15 minutes to kind of work out where we're coming from and who's doing what, and get to, you know, settle into a comfort zone, I suppose.
If you're watching an act like, say, Coltrane, you know, from years ago, and they go off on tangents, everyone has their solo, and to me, even as a musician, sometimes you think, when they all come back into it, you think, well, How did they all know? How did they all come back
Yeah.
at that time? Is it training? Or is it just playing together?
I think playing together and a connection as well. You tend to connect with certain individuals easily, I suppose. Like, you know, I know when Shannon and myself and Ant hooked up, we kind of had this connection going on, and you know, you can all have your eyes closed, but you can feel when something's going to happen, when it's time to resolve, or time to finish a solo, or time to drop out, or it's just this. It's instinctual.
Yeah, and within the to have the freedom, you also do know that it is going to be that ending. You do know that it's going to sort of it's going to have those sort of rules that you can sort of break and play within them. So they do,
For sure.
I guess over the years, hip hop has sort of emerged as obviously a genre all of its own. You guys are melding it together. But a lot of the hip hop artists, I guess that song, "Let's Get the Party Started," speaks for itself. But is there an emerging philosophy, or is there something that you guys want to get across with your lyrics?
Definitely. Like for that track, it's positivity. It's kind of like it's getting everyone comfortable with the situation and the concert, and getting everyone settled in and letting them know that we're going to be in for a good time, and here it sort of goes. For me, that's like a dedication to the old school sort of hip hop, to that particular track. It reminds me of the Curtis Blow and the Grandmaster Flash and that whole era, and even Gil Scott Heron. It's just sort of our dedication to that kind of sound. It sort of popped out as that. That's what it feels like when we play it live.
For sure.
It's got a good vibe.
For sure.
Bounces along.
With all those things going on stage and in the rehearsal room, how does the songwriting emerge out of all that?
That can come differently. That can someone can bring a whole track in, and we'll all share the share the song and put different parts in it. Sometimes it comes from us just jamming, and someone might just have a bass line or a guitar line, and we'll sort of rock along to it, and it goes through different.
Whatever feels good, basically, we try and hold on to the gems. It's like sifting for gold nuggets. You're going to throw a whole lot of grooves and a whole lot of ideas in. Certain ones will stick, and then you might carry those onto the next jam or the next recording or whatever else.
For sure.
But,
and you might even forget about different grooves. Someone will have a tape recorder there recording the jam, and then a couple of weeks later they'll play it back to you, and you're like, oh, they have a tape recorder, and you'll have a great track, and I'm like, oh, awesome, cool, let's go do that, you know.
Forgot about that one.
Yeah.
You played your fair share of festivals, obviously. What's it like coming back and doing smaller shows? What do you prefer, the smaller shows or big festivals?
Oh, that's I mean, it's funny, the smaller shows, in an intimate setting, I think we almost connect musically, you know, it's easier for that to happen. Whereas sometimes on the bigger stages where you fall back, you know, it might be problematic, you don't get a sound check, those kinds of things. You can feel isolated and by yourself, yet the energy, you know, when you're playing in front of a lot of people, the energy is outstanding. And maybe the level of communication between ourselves kind of lessens a little bit, but then we tend to pump up the show a lot more and just like to lay it down nice, fat and solid, and have people dancing and smiling, and
So you've got 2 releases so far?
We've got a live release and a studio release audio cookie.
That came out about a year or so ago?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
Okay. So where to now? Where are you going?
Well, we'd like to record again, definitely. We've got a bunch of material which can easily go down on tape tomorrow if we so wished.
There's 2 or 3 albums sitting there waiting.
Yeah.
It's a matter of finding the right people to work with and the right timing. We're an independent band completely. We've got no funding and no backing, so recording for us is a process of saving, and then a process of working out where and how we can sort of facilitate pulling all the different funds and people and resources together. And that's half the challenge. The audio cookie was an 18-month to 2-year kind of process of working with Jeff Lovejoy. Did an amazing job on the album, but he was really flexible with time and also letting us pay things off, which was fantastic. But the next album, we'd still kind of see how things settle in. Looking forward to wherever it is, but
So the lineup is solid now. There's
for sure.
yeah,
sure.
OJ,
because you've had a few changes around, haven't you? What, 4 drummers did you say?
We've gone through some drummers and some bass players, but now OJ and Marky are just, you know, as solid as you can get, and they're just a killer rhythm section.
they are.
You know, I know everybody in Brisbane is extremely envious of the fact that, you know, we've got those guys. You know, they really are just something else, and we're stoked.
Because you guys like do so much collaboration and working with other people and being able to, you know, mix it up on a professional level with all these other different musos. So like when you actually go in and record, do you find yourself just wanting to bring on some of the guys that you play with and the people that you're actually doing stuff with and give them some guest spots and
Absolutely,
things like that? So
Yeah.
it's you know, you've actually got, you're actually bringing your community into the recording as well.
studio.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
The more collaborations, the better.
Yeah.
I love working with really amazing artists to inspire and bring new flavours to the band. There's a special few jams and recordings we've done with Afla, from a friend of ours from Ghana. He's an amazing energy, an amazing voice, and he's just got that really high energy. And it's brilliant to work with him, and there's heaps of people who love to work with. But,
For sure. I mean, a lot of it is also a case of probably having the gear as well. You know, we're not yet sorted where we've got our own personal recording studio, you know, which would be ideal for us, because there's so much we could do. You know, we're always having people drift in and out of our lives and contribute to our lives musically, you know, and when we can capture that, that's just going to be fantastic.
Yeah, there's so many acts are doing that these days too. You know, they're able to. I mean, look at Girling's last release, for example. You know, they're a band that, you know, just basically bought all the gear that they needed to be able to write the songs that they wanted up to a point, and then go and record them at a level, you know. And they just keep that process going all the time. It's a really good. It's really beneficial to be able to do that.
Yeah. Definitely.
It gives you a bit of time to play around too, doesn't it?
Oh,
And be self-indulgent if you want.
Yeah.
Well, and that's
Not
what
that I would
recording
think
is,
you
you know.
boys would.
But you know, it's good to be self-indulgent.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
I think
nothing wrong with that.
no, expression. You've got to get it right. That's the thing that lasts forever. So.
And sometimes
Exactly, yeah.
Sometimes you feel like recording, and sometimes you don't. And sometimes you book time into a really expensive studio, and you might not necessarily feel like recording on that particular day. So I don't know. It'd be great to have that freedom.
All right, good luck with the boys. I hope everything goes well for the next few years for you. And let's grab another track that we recorded here at Emerge. This is a track called Rise, Afro Dizzi Act. Afro Dizzi Act there with one of their latest tracks called Rise that they recorded here with us at Emerge, and we're joined by Shannon, Nick and Anthony. Now tell us about that track, Nick.
That was written, or the sketch of it was written in Nepal on a bus ride from Pokhara to Kathmandu. And I was sitting there next to Mark actually, and we're listening to a bit of hip hop. I can't remember who it was, but we sort of had the phones on and we're grooving out and turned the phones off, and next thing this tune and this vibe started sort of coming to me, and we actually wrote it down at the time and kind of pulled over for breakfast and sang through it and thought, oh yeah, this is going to work, and held on to it.
So you just did it you basically did it in your head, right? You didn't have any instrument with you
No,
at all?
I had no instruments. And I actually remember saying to Ant, you know, I've written the bass line out, you know, what do you reckon? And he was kind of like, I think that's a minor 6 there. And I was like, oh yeah, right. And
Very
literally,
technical.
that's how it went. Yeah, you know, and we had like kind of the what did they tell you, what did they sell you? That was kind of the theme, you know. And then Ant expanded upon it, and then I think we let it sit for a while, you know, and then came back to it once we were in Australia.
Yeah, went into hibernation, re-emerged, and then was one of our main tunes for the North Indian tour when we went over there. That was one of the strongest tracks. We got to workshop it and work through it. That was
Got some shows coming up soon?
Yeah, we're in Byron Bay this Saturday, and then we're in Sydney mid-November, and then the Zoo birthday in December, and then after that Christmas
Bit of a Christmas break?
festivities. Yeah, we'll chill out for that.
And then looking into the new year with some recording or something like that?
hopefully,
soon?
yeah, that'd be ideal.
definitely.
Got any producers or anything in mind at this stage?
Yeah, we got a few. We're
Yeah.
still sorting things out.
Okay. Well, I suppose you could just open up a corduroy shop. Okay, guys. Well, thanks very much for joining us. Afro Dizzi Act on Emerge, and a couple of tracks there for us live. Join us next week for another great show here at Emerge. Thanks a lot.
Oh, that was awesome.
Music. Well, here's a little funk for the flavor, and for to what he gave you, it's dropping. You can reinvent the wheel when you find harder than steel.